let's get it. The crypto market cap as a whole is looking bullish, bullish, bullish. We're going to take a look at the cryptocurrency market cap as a whole on the charts, and also take a look at the altcoin market as a whole from a charting perspective as well. But first, we will look at Bitcoin and some of the newest patterns showing up in the charts there. So let's go. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Crypto Cabin. My name is Tom, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the cryptocurrency market cap as a whole, see how the market is shaping up, take a look at the altcoin market, and then first of all we're going to start off with Bitcoin, of course. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button, click the little notification bell, and select all so you get notified when I post new videos. Also, give this video a thumbs up, and without any further ado, let's jump right in. We're going to start off with Bitcoin, like I mentioned. So we've got a few bullish patterns here. I've talked about them on my previous video. That this is on the 4-hour chart here, but we have a descending broadening wedge, typically breaks to the upside roughly 80% of the time, and we also have a descending wedge here that did in fact break out, and that usually breaks to the upside almost 70% of the time. So we have seen these two patterns forming potentially. Well, the first one did, and then we've potentially got this broadening wedge here. We do now have a third bullish pattern forming for Bitcoin. We have an inverse head and shoulders. So it kind of looks like this. We will need to see if we are able to break out of this. So what we can do here for head and shoulders is draw a line through the neckline, and we will be waiting for the price here to come up and break through this down sloping resistance line here. If we break through there, then we would need to obviously break through this next level of resistance right at $60,000, but then up and off to the races. As you can see here, Bitcoin has been respecting a lot of these lines that we have here. So we came down to 60K, fought with it for a bit, dropped down to 58.5, came back up, couldn't hold 58.5, so we dropped down to the very next level here, which lined up perfectly with my 0.5 level from the fib extension that I had drawn out. It hit that almost exactly. After hitting the 55.9, we came right back up, and where did we meet resistance? Right at the 58.5 level. We were able to blast through that, hit the $60,000 level, and now we've come back and have been right along the 58.5 for the last 4 candles here on the 4-hourly chart. So it is pretty amazing when you take a look at technical analysis, patterns, horizontal levels of resistance and support, and how the price respects these levels time in and time out. We just need to be on the lookout for these sorts of patterns to play out. Like I said, broadening wedge, descending wedge, head and shoulders, cups and handles. We've got lots of those in the crypto market space right now as well. All of these are bullish. So looking from a technical analysis standpoint purely, we are very bullish. Obviously there's a lot of other fundamentals that are very bullish as well. Tons of advertising, crypto.com taking over the Staples Arena. It is going to go nuts. So like I said, we would need to break through this down sloping trend line here in order to complete this reverse head and shoulders, or inverse head and shoulders. Inverse head and shoulders is typically a reversal signal, meaning we're going to go back up. We also have this upward sloping trend line here, which is getting very close. So we're kind of forming a symmetrical triangle. These can usually break either way. I shouldn't say usually, they can break either way. We are getting very close to the end here, so I do expect a breakout sometime very, very soon, either to the upside or the downside. Like I said, if this 58.5 level cannot hold, then we could be dropping to the downside. That measured move would be something like this. We could come back down to retest this 55.9, potentially down to about 54. If we break to the upside from here, we would be looking at coming back up to roughly the $64,000 range. But of course, we need to be able to break through these other levels of resistance too, around 60,000, then 61.6 to 62.3, and then also meeting this level of resistance here on this downward sloping trend line in the broadening descending wedge. And yes, I know it sounds like I'm saying the price can go up, can go down, because it can. However, I'm leaning more bullish at this point because of how the patterns are showing up in the chart. That doesn't mean that we can't break down though So just want to make sure that you guys are prepared for both scenarios. So keep a lookout for these. All right, let's take a look at the crypto market cap as a whole. So we have a bunch of cup and handles. So the cryptocurrency market cap forms cup and handles all the time. So when we scroll back here from, what was this, May 2014 all the way to May 2016. So this is basically a 2-year cup and handle right here. What happened? We formed the cup and the handle, we broke out, came back down to retest that line, off we went. Zoom in again here. This is on the weekly time frame. If we went to the daily, I think it's a little bit easier to see. So again, the same sort of cup and handle pattern. This one is in 2016. We had this cup, handle, breakout, retest that line, off to the races. Again, we had a little smaller one here in 2017. Little cup, little handle, breakout, retest, off to the races. Another one, this one looks a little bit glitchy, but very similar. A little bit of a rounded bottom, handle, up, breakout, retest, and then off to the races again. So what I'm trying to say is these patterns happen a lot in the cryptocurrency market, and every time they happen, we go on a pretty big run to the upside. So this is what has happened over the last few years. This is the 2017, 2018, I guess technically, the peak in 2018 with the cryptocurrency market as a whole. Back here, this little peak, the spike on December would have been very close to where the Bitcoin top was, and then we had a little bit of retracement and the altcoins rallied up for a little while after that, so about 3 weeks after that. But since then we've had this kind of rounding bottom, and then we had this recent peak in May of 2021. We are forming now another rounded bottom and then a cup and handle. So this is like a cup and handle within a cup and handle. Zooming in a little bit closer to today's current date here, we have this cup, handle, and like we did before with all those other patterns, we've now broken out above that line and then come back down to retest it. And look at what is happening. We bounced right off of this horizontal support line, and we are now trending back up. And when we ran into resistance here, it was exactly where we met resistance, was at that upward sloping trend line all the way back from 2017. So this is connecting the tops of the market from 2018 to connecting the top in May, and then again it met resistance there, came back down to retest perfectly, and it has since then got a bounce. So the entire cryptocurrency market cap as a whole, in my opinion, based on these charts, looks extremely bullish. Beautiful retest. Hopefully we're up and off to the races now. When we take a look at the altcoin market as a whole, we are forming very similar patterns. Of course, the total market cap takes into account Bitcoin as well. This total 2 here on TradingView is the total cryptocurrency market cap without Bitcoin. So when we take a look at what happened here, the altcoin market doesn't have as much data, but it's still pretty darn good. So this is actually all the way back from 2017, and look at the pattern we had here. We had a cup and handle, and then another little cup and handle, and then we rallied all the way off to the upside. Currently, this looks extremely similar. So we had a little 1, 2, 3, rally to the upside. We now have a little 1, 2, 3, almost the exact same pattern, upward sloping line of resistance. We were able to, this time, very similarly to the total cryptocurrency market cap space, we were able to break through, meet resistance at that upward sloping trend line, just like I said, come back down, retest this line of previous resistance, now support, which is beautiful, and hopefully we are now able to continue our way up here. Some people say we are right here, with this most recent move here being about this little rounded bottom right there, which is definitely possible. So from there, rallying all the way up, I think I've talked about this before, it was roughly a 500 to 600% gain for the average altcoin, which is pretty darn good. What I'm tending to see now is we could potentially be only here back from March in 2017, and a lot of people have talked about lengthening cycles, and Benjamin Cowan did a video on this just the other day that we have unofficially lengthened. So basically, if Bitcoin is able to hit a new all-time high within the coming weeks, months, then we have officially lengthened. The cycle is already longer, but that's just assuming that Bitcoin actually hits a new all-time high. If it doesn't hit a new all-time high, then the cycle hasn't necessarily lengthened because we didn't top out at a later period. But what we are seeing is the idea of lengthening cycles starting to take form. So if we are only here, we could see an extended altcoin period, which in this case, from the time that we broke out above that line of resistance there, we went on for another 308 days, roughly 300 days from that point, from the breakout. So not saying obviously that this is going to play out exactly like we did the last time, but right from when we broke resistance there, 308 days, let's say. So this is showing that it could lead into September of 2022. I don't know if we would go that long. I mean, I think a lot of people are expecting these lengthening cycles to happen now, or at least it's being talked about. I've always said there's two main narratives right now. One that we top out at the end of this year, and one that we extend into 2022, of course. So I am taking it right now as if we are going to top out at the end of this year, seeing what the price action is like at that point, but that's where my mindset is. And then if at that point in time prices are not anywhere close to where people are thinking the top of the market would be, then shifting my gaze into 2022, and we could see an extended run, which would be awesome. The longer, in my opinion, this extends out, the higher the prices are likely to go. This chart also is looking at the potential of lengthening cycles from a Bitcoin perspective. So the first one in 2013, 2014 was 367 days. Then we had 526 days for the second cycle from the halving to the top. Sorry, the blue line is the halving, red line is the top. Again, we have the halving here, which was back in May of 2020. And if we lengthened at the same rate, this 1.433 times as long, then we would be looking at May of 2022 as the potential top out for Bitcoin. Like I said before, playing into the narrative of extending cycles, this is what we could potentially be seeing. And then if Bitcoin runs all the way until May, and like I said, the altcoins run a little bit after, so if Bitcoin were to extend out, to May, then we look at this 300-ish days. Usually altcoins don't go a month or two after. It's in the past has been a couple weeks, 3 to 4 weeks usually. So we could see altcoins go into June or potentially July at the latest of 2022, which fits roughly, not exactly, of course, nothing's going to be exact, but with where this broke resistance here, right about there, if we ran 300 days like we did before, then this would take us into August or maybe a month or two off there. But if this extending cycle narrative does play out, I know I will be super excited, as I've got most of my stuff in altcoins right now. And when you take a look at this rise, I don't think it'll be nearly as big as it was last time, but this run in the altcoins was 49, almost 50,000%. So that's a roughly 500x gains on the altcoins from last time. There's also, diminishing returns with Bitcoin each cycle, and so we would likely need to assume that altcoins will also have diminishing returns each cycle. Regardless of what you look at, these chart patterns are looking extremely bullish, not only for Bitcoin itself, but the cryptocurrency market cap as a whole in the short term and in the long term. So there you have it, team. There is a quick rundown of what I see shaping up for the cryptocurrency market as a whole, altcoin market, and Bitcoin itself. If you got some value out of this video, please scroll on down, give this video a thumbs up. and hit the subscribe button, and then select the notification bell and click all so you get notified when I post these new videos. Thank you so much for watching this episode from the Crypto Cabin, and I will see you next time.